are not ready. You don't want to ruin them. You don't want to ruin them. And I've always thought to myself, where did that rationale come from? Where did the rationale come from that quarterbacks are delicate flowers?
The starters this week, and he should, I always say it this way, prove to me you can't do it. Prove to me you can't do it.
It's different for us. We're just gonna say that, black players, we can't speak out like some of the white players. Nothing against the white players. It's not even about that. We both have the same struggles. I mean, we really do. So it's just sometimes they want to make a statement, to show you that, you're not all that. I know they don't care for his dad. And I think Deion's a great guy. Deion tries to help these young men become men, not boys. And I just felt like it was wrong what they did to him. I mean, look, Mel Kiper said in 30 years he didn't see nothing like that.
The Cleveland Browns are walking straight into the fire this season, and the backlash is getting louder with every passing week. At the heart of the storm, Shedeur Sanders. Fans and analysts alike can't wrap their heads around why he's been pushed aside, left to watch from the sidelines while the team struggles. And with Dillon Gabriel also sidelined, the questions are impossible to ignore. What exactly are the Browns doing with their quarterbacks? The front office keeps leaning on the same tired excuse rookies just aren't ready yet, but that narrative is starting to crumble. Bush put it bluntly in his latest commentary, asking whether the league really views players like Sanders as delicate flowers, too fragile to take a hit, too unprepared to face the heat of the NFL. If that's the case, then what's the point of drafting them in the first place? The truth is, Sanders represents everything the Browns are missing right now: hope, energy, and the spark of something new. Yet the franchise seems content to let that fire burn out on the bench. For Cleveland fans, it feels less like a strategy and more like sabotage. The bigger issue, every game Sanders doesn't play only adds to the frustration. The Browns aren't just holding back a quarterback, they might be holding back the future of their franchise. And if they don't figure this out soon, the conversation won't be about when will Sanders start, but instead, why did Cleveland waste their shot at a star?
Oh, they're not ready to play. That has nothing to do with the player. It has to do with their readiness to see them. The readiness to see them.
George Bush didn't mince words. He torched the Browns' narrative wide open. According to him, this isn't about rookies being unprepared or needing more time. It's about the Browns flat out refusing to put Shedeur Sanders on the field. He mocked the not ready excuse as nothing more than a safety blanket for a franchise too scared to take a risk, and he's not alone in calling it out. Bush made it clear this has nothing to do with player development or protecting a young quarterback. This is about choice. The Browns are choosing not to unleash Sanders, and that decision should have every fan and analyst demanding answers. Why keep hiding behind convenient excuses when the talent is sitting right there on the bench? Sanders has shown flashes of brilliance, yet Cleveland keeps him locked away like a secret they're too afraid to share. And then came Dan Orlovsky, throwing fuel on the fire. He took direct aim at Kevin Stefanski, blasting him for the way he's handled the Sanders situation. Orlovsky wasn't subtle. He straight up asked why Sanders hasn't been given a chance when he's already proven himself in the preseason. Poise, accuracy, decision-making under pressure, it's all there. The evidence is undeniable. The problem isn't Sanders. The problem is a coaching staff unwilling to back him. Orlovsky demanded transparency. If Stefanski truly thinks Sanders isn't ready, then explain why. Show the proof, but the truth is, there is no proof. What there is a young quarterback who's already shown he can rise to the moment, and the longer Cleveland drags this out, the worse it gets. The fans know it, the analysts know it, and now the pressure on Stefanski is boiling over. Sanders doesn't just deserve his shot, he's already earned it.
Starters this week, and he should, I always say it this way, prove to me you can't do it. Prove to me you can't do it.
Now a true legend of the game, Eric Dickerson, has stepped into the storm, and he isn't pulling any punches. Dickerson says the controversy surrounding Shedeur Sanders isn't just about football. It isn't about playbooks, rookie readiness, or performance on the field. According to him, it cuts much deeper. He believes Shedeur is being overlooked not because of what he does, but because of who he is, and that the shadow of racism is hanging over the entire situation. In a striking interview, Dickerson laid it out plain. This isn't about the white players. His voice carried the weight of decades in the league, a man who knows how the system works behind the curtain. He insisted that when it comes to Shedeur Sanders and his father, Deion Sanders, there's a bigger battle being waged, one rooted in bias, in history, and in the way powerful black voices are often silenced in American sports. This wasn't just another hot take. These were words soaked in experience, frustration, and truth. Dickerson didn't frame it as a football issue. He framed it as a cultural one, a systemic force working to keep two of the most influential black figures in the game from being celebrated the way they should be. And make no mistake, his comments weren't whispers. They were a thunderclap across the NFL. Dickerson is calling for more than fair treatment of Shedeur. He's calling for change, for accountability, for the league to stop burying black talent under excuses and to start recognizing the greatness right in front of them. For Shedeur Sanders, this isn't just about proving himself on the field anymore. Thanks to Eric Dickerson's words, his story has become bigger than football. It's now a symbol of the fight for respect, equality, and recognition.
You trade Shedeur Sanders. You clearly are not sold on him right now. You're not sold on the progress that he's making, even though you're saying, hey, we're happy with where he's at.
I'm going to be livid if
the questions around Cleveland are no longer whispers. They're turning into a full-blown roar. Analysts, former players, and fans are all asking the same thing. Why hasn't Shedeur Sanders been given his shot? After showing flashes of brilliance in the preseason, he looked more than capable of stepping up. Yet week after week, the Browns keep him chained to the sidelines, and that decision is quickly becoming the most controversial storyline in the NFL. Some critics are taking it even further, calling the Browns a corrupt organization, accusing them of protecting the status quo at all costs. Their theory: the team is terrified of what might happen if Sanders steps onto the field and outshines their so-called veterans. Better to keep him hidden than risk exposing the cracks in their established stars, but by doing so, Cleveland may be suffocating the very talent that could save them. And then comes the deeper, more explosive layer. Hall of Famer Eric Dickerson didn't bite his tongue. He said the quiet part out loud. This isn't just about football. In his eyes, Sanders' benching may be tied to something bigger, something systemic: race. Dickerson pointed out that time and again, black quarterbacks have been forced to climb mountains others never had to face. For Sanders, it feels like history repeating itself. Another young, electrifying player held back while less dynamic names are given the benefit of the doubt. Now, the Browns find themselves at a crossroads. This isn't just a roster decision anymore. This is about reputation, legacy, and accountability. Are they really protecting their veterans? Or are they afraid of giving Sanders the keys to the kingdom? And worse, are they contributing to a cycle where black quarterbacks are unfairly overlooked and held to higher standards than anyone else? The clock is ticking. Cleveland can only hide behind excuses for so long before the pressure boils over. The fans are demanding answers, the media is circling, and the league is watching. Shedeur Sanders doesn't just represent a potential franchise quarterback. He represents the future, and the Browns are running out of time to decide if they'll embrace it or keep holding him back.
It was 2 a.m. when my front door slammed open. Some cocky teenager strolls in like he owns the place and starts rummaging through my belongings. My first thought: home invasion. I reach for my phone to dial 911, and then he looks straight at me and says, "My mom runs the HOA, so I can do whatever I want." Excuse me? Since when does running an HOA give you a license to break into someone's house? The mix of cold pizza stench, adrenaline, and pure disbelief hit me all at once as this spoiled brat raided my kitchen like it was his personal grocery store. But here's what Trevor and his power-drunk mother didn't know. The difference between HOA rules and actual criminal law is huge. And those steel handcuffs? They pinch a whole lot tighter than his inflated ego. So let me ask you, what would you do if some entitled kid barged into your home like that? Drop your story in the comments. But let me rewind. Because 3 months before this insanity, life looked perfect. I thought I'd found paradise in Willowbrook Estates. Neat subdivision, solid schools for my 16-year-old daughter Zoe, HOA dues that didn't destroy my budget. I'm Marcus, electrician, single dad, just trying to rebuild after a messy divorce. All I wanted was peace and quiet. Mow the lawn, pay the fees, wave at neighbors. Simple suburban living. That's when I met Vivian Ashworth. Imagine your worst HOA nightmare. Now give it a luxury car, a fake title, and an ego the size of Texas. Vivian, 52, married to a big-shot insurance exec, lived in a McMansion that made the rest of us look like squatters. She had unofficially crowned herself Neighborhood Standards Coordinator, even though the bylaws said nothing of the sort. Week 3 in my new house. I'm enjoying my morning coffee when I find a notice shoved into my mailbox like a parking ticket. Violation. Mailbox post is brown instead of black. $50 fine. 72 hours to fix it. Confused? I pull out the HOA rulebook. 47 pages of mind-numbing legal mumbo-jumbo. Not one word about mailbox colors. So I call the HOA hotline, which of course goes straight to Vivian's personal number. Ashworth residence, she answers. Hi, this is Marcus on Maple Street. About that violation. There's nothing in the bylaws about mailbox colors. Her icy tone could freeze